Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again. Welcome to Voices, Big and Small. As today we will look at the career of Linda Young, the Dallas-based voice actress. Um, Her most, of course, notable roles include Frieza in Dragon Ball series up through Kai, Fortune Teller Baba in the Dragon Ball series, Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho, and Poraluska from Fairy Tale. We'll look at, of course, we'll go over all of our, the majority of our roles. Um, so with that being said, let's get started. Linda Chambers Young, born April 27th, 1953, is an American voice actress who voices characters in Japanese anime series, usually in voice productions produced by Funimation. Her most notable roles are Frieza in Dragon Ball Z, well, Frieza throughout the Dragon Ball franchise up through Kai, and Baba in the Dragon Ball franchise as well as Genkai and Yu Yu Hakusho. And I kind of also in Poraluska as well in Fairy Tail. Um, and oftentimes, of course, she works alongside her son John Bergmeyer, who you all may know as the voice of Karama from Yu Yu Hakusho, among other, or Tien Shinhan from the Dragon Ball franchise. So, with that being said, um, she was born, of course, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Um, let's go ahead and start looking through her credits here. So, she was, of course, one of her first roles was as Genkai, as well as the young Genkai. Now, as I was looking at this, I noticed one commonality. She gets cast a lot as kind of an older woman role, middle aged to older woman roles, usually grandmotherly types. So you'll probably be seeing a lot of them. There are some young women in there as well. Um, but here we go. So of course, in 2002, she was cast as the English voice for Genkai, as well as young Genkai in Yu Yu Hakusho. Of course, Yusuke's mentor in that show. Um, yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing to be able to do, to go back, even though the majority of times she was, old Genkai, she was, or as Yusuke used to call her in English, grandma. During the Dark Tournament saga, of course, when she was kind of going back and forth a few times between her older self and her younger self because of the spirit orb, you know, getting to hear a younger version of her voice was she actually proved to be pretty good. Then, of course, in 2003 is when Funimation got the rights to the Dragon Ball franchise, and as such, throughout majority of the titles and the video games as well. Of course, she was cast in the roles of Frieza and Fortune Teller Baba through all the series, including GT, the original, the first season of Dragon Ball Z. Um, she was also cast as Ilsa and Arale Norimaki. Well, okay, she was um, Prilza in Dragon Ball Z as well, and she also voiced Arale Norimaki in Dragon Ball, the first Dragon Ball series. She was also cast as Fasha in Dragon Ball Z Bardock, the father of Goku. So those are all basically a lot of her roles in the Dragon Ball franchise. And of course, in both Yu Yu Hakusho and the Dragon Ball franchise, she would reprise her main roles in those games as well. And like Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament, she would reprise her role as Genkai, and in, of course, all the Dragon Ball games, she would usually be reprising her roles as Frieza and or Fortune Teller Baba. Then, as we move on to 2004, she was cast as a middle-aged woman in Kiddy Grade. Um, Also in 2004, when we get to Case Closed, among some of the guest roles she would have would include Samantha, Clarissa Blunin, and Catherine Sinclair. As we continue to move forward, also in 2004, that was when, of course, I think that's when Funimation got the rights to One Piece from 4Kids. In One Piece, she was cast as the English voice of Kokoyashi Bookstore Lady. And then we move ahead to 2006. She was cast as Madame. A very similar name, it looks like. In Black Cat, she was cast as the English voice of Madame Frisia. I would say it's probably pronounced Frieza or Frisia, which is very similar to Frieza. So Freesia. I think it's Frisia. Black Cat was an interesting one, of course. And in 2007, she was cast as Shirasawa in Mushishi, in an episode of Mushishi. In 2008, she was cast as Hiroe Yoshimi in Ghost Hunt in 2008. Then in 2009, she was cast as an old woman in Baccano, which seems to be the majority of her roles. The majority of Linda's roles seem to be older, basically older women, elderly older women. Um, let's see. She was also in 2009. She was cast as the English voice of Isabella D'Angelo in Gunslinger Girl, um, Il Tarantino. Gunslinger Girl is a pretty interesting one. This is basically about the idea of secret societies training children to be assassins. So um, obviously, I think Linda was more of a guest role. She wasn't part of the regular cast, but I guess in episode she was Isabella D'Angelo in Gunslinger Girl, Il Tarantino. Fun animes to watch. Check them out. Let's see. Then in 2009, she was cast as the English voice of the Chancellor in Blast Rider. Then, as we come up to 2010 in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, she was cast as Shan, Shan. I believe that might be pronounced as Shan or Shan. Shan if it's Oriental pronunciation. Shan if it's basically English. And then, of course, as we get also move forward into 2010 a little bit more, she was brought back in Dragon Ball Kai to reprise her roles as Frisia, um, Pritza, and Fortune Teller Baba. And as we come to 2011, she was cast as of course, she was cast as the English voice of Porilushka, who is basically a healing mage who doesn't seem to like people. She has a strong tie to Makarov in that, um, but still seems to legitimately care for people, even if she doesn't always get along with them. She was also cast as the English voice of Grandini, who was the dragon who was Wendy's mentor in Dragon Slayer Magic. We move forward to 2012. She was cast as the elderly Japanese woman in Black Butler 2. Also in 2012, she was cast as the English voice of Ikumi Ito in Shiki, a real kind of graphic horror type anime, basically about a town being overrun by what they call Shiki, which I believe are like kind of vampire zombies or something like that. I did watch it a bit. It's very kind of dark, kind of gory. If you're into that thing, you might want to check it out. As far as I know, from what I last heard, I think um, Funimation no longer has a license to Shiki. I think they did eventually give up the license. So, or they either gave it up or lost it, but I'm not sure which. Okay, continuing on. In 2014, um, she was cast as the English voice of Moses' mother in Attack on Titan. I believe that was from the first episode. Then in 2015, she was cast as Florence Nightingale, the English voice of Florence Nightingale in the anime Nobunagan. Um, Interesting, another healing character, much like poor Lucia. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Florence Nightingale was a very famous nurse back many years ago. See, she was a very good nurse back in maybe around the Civil War time. Um, and as we move ahead, moving on to 2016, she was cast as the English voice of Kakaru's grandmother in Orange. Then in 2017, she would be brought back in Dragon Ball Super to reprise her roles as um, Pilza and Fortune Teller Baba in Dragon Ball Super. Also in 2017, she was cast as Michio in Sakura Crest. And in 2018, in season 2 of Ace Attorney, she was cast as Mira Mitenbread. And mind you, should also reprise some of her roles. As I said before, she reprised some of her roles in she would reprise some of her roles in the video game versions of course, Dragon Ball and Yu Hakusho. One of the as I've learned a lot about the voice actors over the years, from all over, there does seem to be a lot of, familiar connections there. Last week or a few weeks ago, as you know, I did her son John Bergmeyer. I'm not doing Linda Young. You have mother and son there. You have, of course, the Fawn family out in L.A. Um, so you have, um, you know, as I said, you have the Gilbertson siblings from up in Calgary, Lucas and Unalea Gilbertson. You have, you know, so it's kind of fascinating when you start seeing. You have the Regal siblings, Eden and Sam Regal, originated out of New York and have since moved out to L.A. You even have, you have the Pappenbrook family, the late Bob Pappenbrook, um, as well as his son Bryce. You have father and son, and I think Debbie Pappenbrook, Bryce's mother, has done some voice work as well. You know, um, and you have a number of course, married couples. You know, married couples or common law married couples involved as well. So, you know, a lot of times this stuff can even seem like a family affair as well, and that's kind of that's a fascinating thing. it's kind of like now from what I've heard too, based on some commentaries I've watched on the Yu Yu Hakusho DVDs that I have. Well, first off, we all know that Linda Young is um, the mother of John Bergmeyer, and from well, at least what I've gotten from in the past, I guess it's like she's kind of like everybody's mother or something like that, or they treat her like with the respect of a mother, and that's kind of nice to see. You know, granted, no matter what you think of what's going on with Funimation right now, they have had good actors and actresses over the years. Not it's only really a small cadre of them that's really really just bad people. I think overall there's a lot of them there who are good people, but just are stuck in a bad situation. Kind of like how the saying goes. Um, Sometimes it just takes one bad apple to spoil the barrel. Well, in this case, it's a few bad apples, but you know. Um, but with that, I hope you guys found this informative. If you want to check the links below, if you want to contact me directly, you can DM me on my Discord. You can even join my Discord. Check it out and join if you'd like. Let's see. Or you can, of course, comment on the videos, and I hope would hope to, of course, see you at the premiere when this premieres. I'm also promoting a bunch of different dub companies. You might want to check those out. Look for other works that are out there. Other than remember, Funimation's not the only game in town. You know, they do have good voice talent, in but they're not the only ones that you guys can get into. There are a lot of good dub voice actors out there that you can check out. I hope I help to inform you and teach you more about them. You learn more and more about them, learn more about their work, and you know, and as always, guys, if there is a particular voice actor or actress you want to see at a convention, the best way to get them to a convention is to contact your local cons and ask them to invite them. Ask them to invite those actors so you can go and meet them. And also in the links thing, so I'm still promoting Vic's GoFundMe as well as the Ortiz family GoFundMe. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. Um, if it's on your heart to do so, and on your heart to do so, and you have the means to, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you're not, if you don't have the means to donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link, because sharing is caring after all. And there may be somebody in your circle of friends who might see and go, yeah, something, he is getting a bad end of the deal here. I want to help out too. You never know; it doesn't hurt to ask. Um, Also, if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you guys can get the updates on the videos when they come out. I hope you guys will be catching the premieres as well. Um, and until Monday, bye.